In this video, I'm going to explain why I think Meghan Markle is an absolute fraud and manipulator, and how Harry is an embarrassment to all men across the world. But most importantly, I will uncover how toxic women can be the biggest Achilles heel of any man. Think Will Smith and Jada, Johnny Depp and Amber Rose. Also, I will dissect the couple's claim of racism in the royal family and explain how their claims do not make any sense whatsoever and is a selfish marketing ploy to sell documentaries, books and podcasts. First of all, let's look at Meghan Markle's background. She was born in a poor neighborhood in LA, only a few miles away from Compton. She then went to acting school, in which her father said she had to sell their house and borrow money to pay for her college fee. But then, as we know, her own father didn't attend her wedding and said that he hasn't spoken to her in years when Meghan Markle married Harry. How can a father sacrifice so much for a daughter to be so ungrateful? And for the father to have such a disdain to not even attend her own daughter's wedding? Furthermore, Meghan Markle doesn't have any relationship with her siblings either, as well as her extended family. The only person present at her wedding was her mother, reluctantly so, I should say. They say always look at how people treat the ones closest to them and the type of relationship they have with those closest to their heart. If an individual is not close with their entire family, then the family is not the problem, they are. Of course, families argue from time to time. But to have no relationship with your own family at all, that's not normal. Before meeting Harry, Meghan previously married a producer in Hollywood, which introduced her to the industry and got her the roles. She then proceeds to divorcing him without meeting face to face and sends the ring back via post. She didn't even have the decency to divorce her husband in person, someone that helped her to get into Hollywood in the first place. There is a pattern here. She seems to betray the people closest to her, and she doesn't seem to have a proper group of friends and family. That's a red flag. Anyone who is too extreme for their own family is also too extreme for society. She then meets Harry and marries him in a wedding that was exclusively paid by the royal family. As Harry will not be king, the royal family did not use taxpayers' money to fund the wedding. This would have probably exceeded Meghan Markle's wildest imagination for a girl that came from a poor neighborhood in LA to finally marry a prince and have her wedding paid by Queen Elizabeth herself. But instead of being grateful, she kept complaining about everything during her time there. She complained that she sacrificed her career to marry Prince Harry. But what career? She was a C-list celebrity with a supporting role in a series called Suits. It's not like she was Angelina Jolie or Julia Roberts with A-list celebrity status. But even if she was, that doesn't mean she could disrespect the royal family like that. She decided to marry a royal, and of course, when that happens, it limits a person's ability and freedom. That's a sacrifice you must make when marrying a royal, and I'm sure she was briefed about it before she married Harry. But then again, like all hypocrites in the world, she wanted her cake and eat it too. She then goes on the Oprah Winfrey show and claims the royals have been racist to her, questioning the color of her baby, and that somehow that constitutes racism. Mind you, this was during the time that Philip, Harry's grandfather, was dying. So the timing couldn't have been any worse. But not only she didn't provide any evidence of her claims of racism, she didn't mention the fact that it's normal conversation in a family to speculate how a baby will look. That's not an unusual thing. People are curious as to what a baby will look like, regardless of their parents' background. Ironically, 2 years later in an interview, Harry says that they didn't mean racism and it was the media that portrayed it that way. Also, there was not a single mention of racism on their joint documentary, and neither in Harry's book nor in Meghan's podcast. So the claim of racism, which had damaged the royal family, has almost disappeared into thin air, with both acting like it never happened. It's funny because in the same book, Harry explains the most intimate and embarrassing details of his life, like how he lost his virginity, but not a single mention of racism. A bit pathetic if you ask me. Now let's look at Harry's background. Harry is the second child of Charles, so he will never be king. It's safe to say he has had some animosity towards William, who will be king. Unfortunately, their mother has died in the 90s in a car crash with her future husband, the son of Egyptian billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed. Some speculate it was the press's fault that Diana died, as there were people taking pictures of the driver in a tunnel, which could have limited his eyesight, and that has led to the crash. Others have more pointed allegation towards the royal family, who claim that Diana was murdered as they didn't want her future children to be Muslim, which would make Harry and William's half-brothers Muslim. She was pregnant at the time she died. However, regardless of what you think or believe, there is no doubt the role of the press and the royal family and the hostility towards Diana was a contributing factor in her death, which then resulted in a lot of anger brewing in Harry since a young age. He was only a child at that age, so no doubt heavily dependent on his mother. Harry has reason to distrust the press and his own family, as he could see them as the main murderers of his mother Diana. However, that does not excuse being an absolute weak, pathetic simp he has become. He is a coward, as he has let a woman, Meghan Markle, take advantage of his insecurities and turn them against his own family. No real woman would try to make their husband against their own family and humiliate them publicly, unless they have malicious intent. I'm almost certain in the near future, Meghan would likely divorce Harry and claim he was mentally unstable, take all his money and go and marry the next guy. That's what happens to weak men who let women walk all over them like cowards. She also has a track record of doing that, so it's not beyond the realms of possibility. But fundamentally, my point with this video is that choose your partners wisely. I think on a spiritual level, this was all karma for King Charles, who was cheating on the beautiful Diana to marry a not so beautiful Camilla. He didn't have to marry Diana if he didn't want to. It just shows Charles is also a weak man. And now Harry's revenge on the family is because of his father's weakness. Additionally, in a book recently published by Omid Scobie, King Charles and Princess Catherine are named as the individuals who question the baby's skin color. So again, it's all coming back to Charles to haunt him. Even though it's a nonsense story, and Omid Scobie shouldn't be believed, as he has a track record of constantly lying on many occasions, even about his own age. On a wider societal level, this is again another example of identity politics and how manipulative individuals that cry wolf and will try to use race as a card to advance their own political, social, and financial motivations. Now, finally, I want to say that I haven't made this video to defend the royal family. Far from it. I think on many occasions they have made mistakes, and especially when it comes to Diana. And also there's a wider issue on whether they should exist or not. However, my point is that there are manipulative individuals that infiltrate families, institutions, and society in general, which have an agenda. People should call a spade and call out a manipulator when they see one. They should call out a liar when they see one. We shouldn't be cowered into a position where we can't say anything, just in case we might be deemed racist, as we don't believe the claims of a manipulative woman or a man about racism or anything else for that matter. There has been a string of toxic women lately. Think Jada Smith, Amber Heard, and Meghan Markle. These are women who cry wolf and have brought down their husband's reputation, usually on the biggest and most important stage. Think how Will Smith slapped Chris Rock on the biggest night of his career when he won an Oscar. Just because he made a joke about his wife's hair, a wife that has been openly cheating on him and bragging about it. Think Amber Heard, which falsely accused Johnny Depp of physical assault, when in fact she faked the pictures and was wearing makeup. And now think Meghan Markle, who has made claims of racism against the royal family to distance Harry from them whilst making millions in the process. Do not be a weak man, or woman for that matter. Choose your partners wisely. That's the point of this video. Thank you for watching. Till next time.